In this video, we're going to look at how to solve equations using the trial and improvement method. Now, this is for equations that you can't solve in any other way and probably are going to have a decimal answer. So the first thing we need to do is make sure we read the question carefully and identify to how many decimal places I need my solution to be. And this is a really key point we're going to come back to later, in this case just one decimal place. So we do this by guessing. We need to first of all guess what x could be. So if we square it and add 5 lots of it, we're going to get 54. So I'm going to start with a guess, and my first initial guess is, what if x is 5? So if x is 5, let's input that in. So we've got to square it first, which is 25, and then add 5 lots of it, which is also 25. So if I add those together, I get an outcome of 50. And comparing that to my target of 54, that of course is too small. So okay then, well, we'll guess a little bit higher. So we'll guess 6 then. If I do 6 squared and add 5 lots of 6, I get 66. Well, that is too big. So my answer lies somewhere between 5 and 6, and probably closer to 5 because 54 is closer to 50 than it is 66. So my next guess using that, I'm going to say, is 5.2. So using a calculator, I'll do 5.2 squared plus 5 times 5.2. That gives me an outcome of 53.04. We're getting closer now to the 54 I'm looking for. It's still a bit too small, but only just. So we'll try 5.3 instead. So input 5.3, square it, plus 5 lots of 5.3, and our outcome is 54.59. Now this is too big. Now this tells us to one decimal place our answer is either 5.2 or 5.3. Now to determine which of those it is, we need to input the number that is directly between the 2 points. So that's 5.25, and we do that even though the answer is to one decimal place. Now if we do 5.25 squared plus 5 lots of 5.25, we get an outcome of 53.8125. Now 53.8125 is too small. Now this tells us that our answer is somewhere between 5.25 and 5.3. Now we don't care exactly where it is, but from this information we can tell for sure that to one decimal place the answer is 5.3. So that's all we need to do. X is equal to 5.3. Now, in a more complicated example like this, the maths is a little more tricky, but it's exactly the same process. So we're going to start by guessing. So we're thinking of a number and squaring it, adding that number, and then adding 3, and we've got to get near 143. So for me, a suitable guess might be that x is 11. So we'll start with x is 11, and if we do 11 squared plus 11 plus 3, we are going to have an outcome there of 135. Now it's a bit small still, we're not quite at 143 yet, but it's a good first guess. You may need to show some workings if you're going to have difficult questions like this. Okay, now we're going to try 12 then, because 11 was too small. So if I do 12 squared plus 12 plus 3, my outcome here is 159, which is a little big. Okay, so we'll narrow it down and we'll go somewhere in the middle. So that maybe we'll try 11.5. If I square it, add 11.5 and add that 3, I will get 146.75. It's still a bit big, but we're getting very close to the answer now. So perhaps we'll try 11.4. 11.4 squared plus 11.4 plus 3. Well, that gives me 144.36. Still too big, so we haven't quite gone low enough. So we'll go again at 11.3, and that gives me 141.99. So that was still too big, and that is too small. So our answer to one decimal place is either 11.3 or 11.4. So just like last time, we need to input 11.35 to help us determine which of those two answers is the correct one. So if I square 11.35 and add 11.35 and then plus 3, I get 143.175. Now this one is still too big, but only just, which means my answer must be between 11.3 and 11.35. So to one decimal place, the answer is 11.3. Okay, that's all you need to know to access the activity. Good luck.